We navigate the tides of two cultures, we think in two languages. Diaspora, the children that fall between the cracks of continents.
The book is on the Dadaab refugee camp in Kenya, which over 25 years now has essentially become a limbo land city of 500,000 people.
Activists, authors, poets, and thought leaders from all walks of life recently gathered in Toronto for a series of engaging discussions.
In my community, which is I'm most familiar with, the second generation of Muslims and third generation Muslims are young professionals in their 30s, and their idea of identity is very different from the first generation.
Across Canada, dozens of diverse organizations and events are doing their part to share new ideas, start a conversation, and perhaps spur citizens into action. CPAC drops by one such event, the Toronto leg of the Spur Festival, a 4-day national festival of politics, art, and ideas.
I'd like to acknowledge the sacred land on which the University of Toronto operates.
It's meant to engage Canadians in debate about the kind of society in which we want to live. In 2011, we were getting kind of increasingly depressed about the polarized nature of the debate in Canada. And we really wanted to provide a national forum that would link Albertans and Ontarians and British Columbians and Manitobans in a constructive debate about what both unites and divides us as a country.
We need to get ideas out. It's not just preventing and anticipating problems, it's also getting fresh thinking out there and coming up with unique solutions. And somebody has one idea and another one gets another idea, and somehow or other it snowballs, and maybe you'll have a whole new vision.
We've come to a crossroads where some neighborhoods are simply not worth saving. So what we're trying to do is find creative ways to replace that housing. And one of the creative ways to do that is to partner with the private sector.
A panel on designing our shared landscape also inspired a new vision.
I think actually Spadina is the best public space project in the entire city.
Cities are increasingly important, not just in Canada, but right across the world. It's where people want to live. We've just passed the halfway point in Canada where more than half the population lives in 4 big urban areas: Vancouver, Calgary, Edmonton, Toronto, and Montreal.
A range of topics were debated, everything from gender, transracial adoption, political tribalism, designing and creating communities, to human migration and the changing demographics of Canada.
Political tribalism is alive and well in Quebec, and it's not going anywhere for anytime soon. And sort of this is why Quebec is a big L liberal province in the sense that it has been governed by one party throughout most of its history.
I think what we were talking about is tribalism and whether we need to have that sense of tribalism in politics anymore, which is called partisanship, which is, people forming around political parties. And I think it was my contention that that may be an antique and a relic of another era.
The theme of this year's festival? Our new tribalism.
So we have one national theme, and we explore that in different ways depending on the individual city. So we program in Vancouver, Calgary, Winnipeg, Toronto, Ottawa, and soon this year in Halifax, and eventually in Montreal as of next year as well.
Everyone involved hopes the dialogue will continue, leading to meaningful solutions.
The key takeaway is that really in Canada, integration is seen as a two-way street. And this has practical expression. It means that just as immigrants who come into the country change and shift and adapt, so too must the host community.
By being here, I just hope to understand how other intellectuals feel about Canadian culture and how we can progress politically, culturally, and societally in Canada, and the changes that we can make to make Canada better.
There are some really strong opinions from different perspectives, and it really provides me with a breadth of understanding and really just some really exciting but also fun ideas.
We believe really strongly that as Canadians, the more we learn about each other in a robust but respectful debate, the better Canadians we are, and the better we are able to build the kind of society in which we all want to live.